Have you ever met someone who feels like they're playing life on a completely different frequency? Someone who just knows what's going on without needing to be told. Someone who can sense the mood in a room instantly, or predict how things are going to turn out before anyone else has a clue. If that sounds familiar, you may have encountered one of the rarest personality types out there, the INFJ. INFJs make up just 1 to 2% of the population. That means, statistically speaking, you could walk into a stadium filled with 50,000 people, and maybe only 500 of them would share this personality type. And here's the kicker, it's not just that INFJs act differently, they think differently. Their brains are literally wired in unique ways that affect how they see, process, and interact with the world. So in today's video, we're diving into 15 powerful ways the INFJ brain is wired differently. By the end, you'll either feel deeply validated as an INFJ yourself or gain a whole new appreciation for the INFJs in your life. Number 1, pattern recognition on overdrive. An INFJ's intuition isn't some mystical gift. It's actually the result of constant subconscious processing. Their brains act like high-speed computers, quietly gathering small bits of information most people overlook. For example, while you're focusing on what someone is saying, the INFJ is also noticing how their voice wavers, how their hands fidget, how their eyes dart when a certain topic comes up. These micro-observations get stored in the INFJ's mental database, where their brain compares them against past patterns and experiences. The result? An INFJ often arrives at accurate conclusions without being able to explain why. To others, it looks like a gut instinct, but it's really the brain pulling data from thousands of tiny puzzle pieces. This is why INFJs often predict outcomes long before they unfold. It's like having an internal radar constantly scanning for patterns. Number 2, emotional absorption. INFJs don't just notice emotions, they feel them. Neuroscientists believe this is linked to highly active mirror neurons, the brain cells that let us empathize with others. For INFJs, these neurons are practically on hyperdrive. Imagine being in a crowded room where half the people are anxious and the other half are excited. For most people, this creates a general buzz. For an INFJ, it's like trying to hold two radio signals at once, one playing uplifting music and the other playing static. No wonder they get drained. This also explains why INFJs are such compassionate friends and counselors. If you're hurting, they feel a version of that pain themselves. If you're joyful, they light up with you. It's an incredible gift, but it also comes with the price of emotional exhaustion. Number 3, deep focus mode. When an INFJ locks onto something meaningful, their brain can enter a state of deep focus that feels almost meditative. Hours can pass without them noticing because they're fully immersed in solving a problem, writing, researching, or creating. This is thanks to strong activity in the prefrontal cortex, which controls planning and problem-solving. It's what makes INFJs excellent writers, strategists, or researchers. But here's the catch: if you interrupt them, it can take ages for them to get back into that flow. Their brain doesn't just switch tabs easily, it has to reload the entire operating system. That's why INFJs crave quiet, uninterrupted spaces to do their best work. It's not about being antisocial. It's about protecting their brain's unique way of focusing. Number 4, future simulations. Most people think a few steps ahead, maybe what's for dinner tomorrow or what they'll do this weekend. INFJs, however, are running entire simulations of possible futures in their heads. Their intuition, NI, in MBTI terms, constantly scans present circumstances and projects them forward into likely outcomes. It's why they often say things like, "I just know this won't work," or, "Something tells me we should prepare for this." For instance, if they see a friend ignoring financial issues, their mind doesn't just register it as bad spending habits. Instead, it fast-forwards late bills, mounting stress, relationship strain, and eventual burnout. This forward-scanning ability makes INFJs brilliant long-term planners, but it can also make them seem overly cautious or even anxious. Number 5. Built-in perfectionism. The INFJ brain is like a quality control machine that never shuts off. They're wired to notice details that don't match their vision, and it can make them relentless perfectionists. Say an INFJ is working on a presentation. Even after hours of edits, they'll keep finding things to fix: the spacing on a slide, the tone of one sentence, the flow of a section. To them, good enough feels incomplete, because their brain is constantly highlighting discrepancies between what is and what could be. This wiring leads to incredibly polished results, but it also creates stress. INFJs often struggle with finishing projects because their brains refuse to let them call something done. Number 6. Sensory sensitivity. Crowded malls, blaring music, flickering lights. These things can overwhelm an INFJ's nervous system quickly. Their brains are highly sensitive to environmental stimuli, meaning they process every detail at a higher intensity. That's why INFJs often prefer calm, cozy spaces. A quiet coffee shop with soft music? Heaven. A noisy bar with flashing lights? Nightmare. Their brains simply burn more energy handling all the sensory data, which leads to quicker fatigue. Think of it like a high-definition TV. It picks up every detail beautifully, but it also needs more power to run than a standard screen. Number 7. The meaning maker. INFJs rarely take things at face value. Their brains are wired to search for deeper meaning in everything, from conversations to life events. A friend might casually mention feeling tired at work. Most people nod and move on. The INFJ, meanwhile, is wondering, is it just lack of sleep? Or maybe burnout? Or could it be tied to something deeper, like feeling unfulfilled? This need for significance is why INFJs dislike small talk. Chatting about the weather feels like running a supercomputer just to calculate 2 plus 2. It works, but it's painfully underwhelming. Give them a meaningful conversation, though, and they'll light up. Number 8. A world within. INFJs live in two worlds at once: the outer reality and their inner landscape. Their brains devote huge energy to internal reflection, imagination, and analysis. This makes them appear dreamy or distracted, but in reality, they're deeply engaged, just not always with what's directly in front of them. They might be sitting quietly in a meeting while, inside, they're constructing an elaborate solution to a problem or imagining future scenarios. This inner world is also a source of creativity. Many INFJs produce art, writing, or insights that feel profound because they've spent hours in deep inner processing. Number 9. Harmony. Radar. Conflict is like nails on a chalkboard to an INFJ. Their brains are highly attuned to discord, and they experience stress responses even when the conflict isn't directed at them. In group settings, they can pick up subtle shifts in tone or body language that signal brewing tension. Often, they'll step in to mediate, because their wiring pushes them to restore balance. But prolonged exposure to conflict-heavy environments can overwhelm them. They need harmony not just as a preference, but as a neurological necessity. Number 10. Memory with meaning. An INFJ might not remember your birthday, but they'll remember exactly how you looked the day you shared your deepest fears. That's because their memory prioritizes emotional weight and patterns over raw data. It's almost like they have a mental scrapbook filled with emotionally charged snapshots. These memories then fuel their intuition. When they meet new people, their brain cross-references those snapshots, helping them detect familiar patterns. This selective memory explains why they're so good at giving thoughtful advice. They draw from an archive of experiences and emotions that others barely noticed. Number 11. Authenticity scanner. INFJs can sense fakeness like a smoke detector senses fire. Their brains cross-check multiple signals, words, tone, facial expressions, body language, and highlight any mismatch. For example, if someone says, "I'm fine," but their eyes look pained, their voice cracks slightly, and their posture droops, the INFJ instantly feels something is off. Even if they can't articulate why, their brain is screaming, "This doesn't match up." This ability helps them avoid manipulative people and build strong bonds with those who are genuine. But it can also make them wary in social situations where people often wear masks. Number 12. Energy-intensive processing. Here's the truth. The INFJ brain uses more energy just existing. With constant pattern recognition, emotional absorption, and future forecasting happening in the background, it's like running multiple heavy software programs at once. This is why INFJs tire faster than others in social settings. It's not that they don't enjoy people, it's that their mental battery drains quickly because their brains are doing double, sometimes triple, the work of others. That's why alone time isn't optional for INFJs. It's survival. Number 13. Hyper-awareness of injustice. For INFJs, injustice isn't just frustrating, it feels personal. Their brains are wired to detect moral discrepancies, and they experience a visceral reaction to hypocrisy, cruelty, or dishonesty. This is why many INFJs feel compelled to advocate for causes, protect the vulnerable, or challenge corrupt systems. It's not a passing interest, it's deeply ingrained in their neurological wiring. They can't just look the other way when something feels wrong. Their brains won't let them. Number 14. Storytelling minds. INFJs naturally process life through narrative. Their active imagination and meaning-making tendencies make them skilled at framing events as part of a bigger story. They might see their own struggles as chapters in a personal journey, or view a friend's difficulties as part of a growth arc. This narrative lens allows them to inspire others with metaphors, insights, or stories that hit home. It's also why INFJs are drawn to writing, counseling, and art. Storytelling is their way of making sense of the world. Number 15. The otherworldly vibe. Finally, INFJs often give off an aura that feels different. Because they're always balancing their rich inner world with the external one, they can seem like they're half here, half somewhere else. People describe them as mysterious, ethereal, or even old souls. This vibe isn't an act, it's simply the byproduct of living life in two dimensions at once: the concrete present and the endless realm of possibility. So there you have it, 15 fascinating ways the INFJ brain is wired differently. From their uncanny pattern recognition to their deep empathy, from their perfectionist tendencies to their need for harmony, every trait comes down to one thing: their brains really do process the world on a unique wavelength. If you're an INFJ, know this: you're not too sensitive, too intense, or too weird. You're just wired differently. And that wiring is a gift. And if you're not an INFJ but you know one, hopefully this helps you understand why they sometimes seem drained after social events, why they notice things others don't, or why they can make you feel more understood than anyone else ever has. The INFJ brain is like a rare instrument, delicate, complex, but capable of producing music unlike anything else. And the world needs that music. So tell me, which of these INFJ brain traits resonated with you most? Drop your answer in the comments. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who'd find it interesting. Because when we understand how differently wired minds work, we don't just learn about INFJs. We learn to appreciate the beautiful diversity of the human brain.